how do images, pictures, videos, how does that communicate empathy subconsciously?
So if you look at the research, when you look at literally how people's eyes move through websites, and when they look at the visual information on there, we will make a determination about an image, about what it is, literally within 15 milliseconds. And by way of comparison, the human eye blinks at about 300 milliseconds. So we'll look at an image and we will immediately decide, is it real and is it relevant? And those eye tracking studies show that if an image has no connection to what's being presented, people will ignore it. But if there's actual real faces of real people with a real connection to what the institution is presenting, then they'll key on it. They'll connect with it, and they'll really sink into it. The problem with that is that being able to craft a portfolio of images, I think organizationally, people have convinced themselves that it's really difficult, it's really time consuming, and what's the big deal? Everybody uses stock, so why not just do it? Stock photography for me is kind of like the Tiger King of visual storytelling now in financial services. We didn't want to look at it. We didn't know that we really even needed it. Everybody else was doing it though, so we thought, how bad could it be? 8 episodes in, we now have very strong opinions on a zookeeper that we never met before and whether or not he paid somebody to kill another rival zookeeper. All that to say is this: we didn't plan to get here. If you would have asked any financial services professional, hey, when you sit down on day one, I want you to be as generic as possible. I want you to be forgettable, and I want you to do your job with the lowest bar of effort. Nobody would do that. But when we would do the churn and the energy of our work, we get so pressed down and margins get so squeezed that the first 2 areas to go when things get tight, there's talent development and marketing. They're the last to know and the first to go, because we haven't, for whatever reason, been able to show that strong link between what we put out there and what we get back is inextricably intermingled. So the extent to which that we as storytellers, and all of us are, the extent to which we as storytellers can connect with the people whose money we're spending and saying, this is the effect that we have, this is a critical thing. The critical question for me is, do we as banks and credit unions love our members or our customers, or do we just love their stuff? And that's a tough question. And we can talk about how much we care for our people all we want to, but are we really caring for them, or do we just care what they're going to give us? And I think the answer to that question is found a lot in our visual storytelling, and that's not a comfortable conversation, but it's a necessary one for us to keep us relevant going forward.
Yes, because I can tell you talked about the studies of the eye tracking. We've actually done quantitative and qualitative. We do quarterly secret shopping for financial brands. And one of the very first questions that we ask to a consumer who does not have a relationship with said financial brand is, do you feel like you can trust this institution first? And then second, how does what you're looking at, how does it make you feel? And I can tell you without a doubt, the financial brands that are utilizing stock photography, stock image, always raises a red flag. A consumer might not verbalize it, but you can hear it in tonality. You can hear it in the adjectives that they use. So this is more important, as I said before, now than ever before. Why? Because COVID-19, and in a post-COVID-19 world, digital shopping for financial brands will continue to increase in strategic prominence and importance, because people will not go back to banking the way they did before.
Right. And they shouldn't. And we have this huge opportunity to be able to show that we are real, that we're not just this other commodity, that we do honestly care about who they are. And I think that we've lost our way a little bit in that we think that if we just throw up enough images that people will get it. They really don't care. They really don't look at them anyway. You're right. What you're putting out there, people don't care about. But when you connect it to the real mission of what real people actually do, real people will pay attention. There will be more time and effort into it. Absolutely. But from the data that we've seen, this is, I think, what one person, 10, 11 years ago that we heard described as something that we need to get rid of. I have the data to back it up that it is a plague in our industry. And the first organization to steer clear from it in their market will win. So will the second one. So will the third one. It will flow like a river, but it's going to be a hard revolution because they're going to think that it's not really, it's different. Why should we do it?
Yeah.
And I think we're missing an opportunity if we ignore it.
Yeah. I mean, one study that in looking into this before the conversation was from a Harvard Business Review, and they found that faces of people who look like us release oxytocin, or that feel-good chemical that promotes connection. That's the HX. That's the human experience delivered digitally.